welcome to Your Health Matters. I'm Pat Williams with Dr. Benjamin Bryant, Chief of Staff and Chief General Surgeon for Conneaut Conneaut Medical Center here in Conneaut, Ohio. Dr. Ben, how you doing today?
Couldn't be better, Pat.
Well, today on March 8th, they're calling for 60-mile-an-hour winds later today, so better hold on to the hat. Hold on to the hat.
Well, I hope the power doesn't go out.
I know it. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Well, it's supposed to cool off by this weekend.
Yeah, actually, we're supposed to get some snow, so four-letter word's coming back.
Yeah, it's coming back.
Doc, we did have a guest scheduled, but he had another commitment, I guess.
He's a vascular surgeon, and he had a couple of emergencies this morning.
That happens.
And that does definitely happen.
So we're going to kind of wing it ourselves today, and you got a really good, interesting subject, I think, that the folks will enjoy.
Yeah, well, we've had on this show several times, we've talked about the pace at which medical science is advancing, and it's unbelievably fast.
Right.
And the technology that's coming is so powerful, and it's going to have such an impact on people's lives, and it's going to raise real questions that all of us as human beings and as members of this country, as citizens of this country, we're going to have to make some deep decisions about what happens and about how some of this technology is going to be used. And it's coming, whether we like it or not. It's coming, and it's coming fast. So I thought I'd cover one particular area of it this morning that's going to affect all of us, and try and get some of the concepts out there, some of the issues out there, so people can start thinking about this, start talking with each other about this, and see how they feel about it.
Okay.
And we're going to start off. We're going to talk and start this in the area of infertility. That's going to lead us into what the subject's really about. Infertility means that you can't have kids, and that affects millions of people. Young couples, they want to start a family, and they find out there's a problem. Okay, and it takes a terrible emotional toll on people. I mean, it causes a great deal of stress. It's heartbreaking, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have attempted to come up with ways to make it happen anyway. And what most people may have heard of, they've heard of IVF, in vitro fertilization, okay? And what that means is the ova from the mom are collected, and they're fertilized outside the body and start to develop, and then those tiny little embryos are implanted, and then hopefully the idea is they get carried to term just like any other baby, and then you have you wind up having a baby, and when it works, it works. I mean, you have healthy, normal babies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Problem is, it's very expensive, and it is certainly not a certainty. It fails a lot of times.
Okay.
People go through this. The woman takes the medication to induce the ovulation. It has a lot of emotional side effects. Then the ova are harvested, and then something goes wrong. They don't get fertilized. They get implanted. They don't make it. There's a lot of slips. Okay, so it's not real certain. But if it's all you've got, you keep trying.
Right.
Okay.
When you say expensive, how expensive are we talking?
Thousands and thousands.
Is that
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I never thought of that.
Oh yeah. This is really, really high tech stuff, and
You're paying for it.
yeah, you're paying. I think to be honest, I really shouldn't say, because I don't know what the insurance issues are.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of out of pocket associated with it. I don't know that for sure,
Okay.
but I would assume that that's true.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, a lot of research is going into how to improve that. How to improve that. Is there a way to make it less expensive and maybe harvest more ova? because they only get a few at a time, and if those fail, there you are. Okay? Is there a way to do that? And if so, that's going to take us into the whole area, and this is what we're really going to be talking about today, the whole area of designer babies. Designer babies. We're going to go more deeply into that, and you'll start to get a sense of what this really means and what the issues really are. Okay? What's being developed now is technology that allows adult human cells to be converted into sperm and eggs. Whoa, whoa. An adult human cell can be subjected to processes that cause it to transform into sperm and eggs? Yes, that technology exists. It's already been done in Japan in mice. It's already been done. It hasn't been done in humans yet. But let's think about this. If you can do that, you can create an endless number. You can create an endless number of these cells that are used to create the babies. An endless number of them. And the cost will go down. Okay? This is called IVG, which is called in vitro gametogenesis. That just means making sperm and eggs outside the body through chemical processes on adult stem cells. Okay? All right. This raises the specter of embryo farming on a scale completely unimaginable now. What this means is that they're going to be able to produce huge numbers of viable embryos. All right? Which will develop into babies. This gets into the whole controversy about stem cell research. Do you see what I'm saying? And about when does life start at the moment of conception? And if you create one of those, you've actually conceived a child. If you create one of those in a lab, you've actually conceived a child. Whoa! You know, should we be doing this? What scale should we be doing this on? Because this is going to open it up so that there's an endless supply. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's mind-boggling.
It is. Okay, so that's a big concept, and that's just the start. Okay. What this does is it greatly increases the number of embryos that parents can select from. Do you see what I'm saying? They're going to have their choice. And what this does is it raises concerns about parents selecting for their ideal future child. Well, I don't know if I want this one. Maybe I want this one. They're going to be selecting which child.
Wow.
Okay? Now, in the history of the human race, evolution has been a natural process.
Right.
Okay? We have natural forces. We live in the world. You know, there's all the elements of life that select and cause us to evolve in certain ways, in terms of our health, in terms of our stature, our intelligence, and so on and so on. All the different traits that make us human. What's happening here is it's going to give people the ability to reach into that process themselves and change the direction of it themselves. Do you see what I mean?
So you're saying blonde-haired, blue-eyed geniuses will be able to be harvested?
Matt's right on top of this, and he's just jumped out in front. Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, that's great, because there's another aspect to this. We got all these zillion embryos from which to choose. Okay. And, you know, obviously you're going to want to choose one that doesn't have a genetic disease, because they're catastrophic, and if the baby doesn't have that, well, that's a good thing. We had talked about something that's called CRISPR. CRISPR, we had done this on previous shows. That's an acronym. I'm going to take a step back here, because I want to lay the groundwork so people can really get hold of this, okay? If you look in the newspaper or look online, you're frequently hearing about superbugs, bacteria that are resistant.
Mhm.
Big problem. Okay? We have an antibiotic to treat this infection. Oops, it doesn't work now because the bacteria is resistant to it. Well, of course, that's being studied massively to find out how bacteria do this. How do they do it? How did it was susceptible before? It's resistant now. What happened? Well, the bacterial DNA changes and new genes form, which confer the resistance. They make it so the antibiotic doesn't work, and the bacteria have very elegant, very sophisticated systems for cutting their own DNA and putting new things in their DNA. Okay, they've got special little enzyme systems to do that. Okay, well, what's happened is that researchers have figured out those enzyme systems and have harvested them themselves and are putting them to work on human DNA. Now, what that means is we are getting the ability to very precisely cut certain genes out of human DNA and put other genes in. Modify our own DNA. Okay? The technology's here. It's being used. This isn't science fiction. This is science. Okay? And in accord with the concern that Maddie just raised, okay, many genes that contribute to traits like eye color, height, athleticism, intelligence, these genes are being identified. They can be modified. If you take this out far enough, so this, okay, the CRISPR thing, it's been applied to humans, now we've really got it down, we know how it works, it's safe, it's successful. That means we have the ability to take one of these embryos and determine the eye color if we want to, determine the height if we want to, how athletic the person's going to be, levels of intelligence. We're going to be able to modify the DNA so that the developing baby has these traits instead of these traits. And that's what Maddie was getting at, blonde-haired, blue-eyed geniuses. Okay? Now,
Wow.
you put those two things together, an endless supply of embryos to choose from, and the ability to modify these things. Okay, this is the technology that's arriving, is our ability to do these things. This technology has the potential to revolutionize the treatment of infertility by offering a safer, less invasive alternative to traditional in vitro that could potentially have far higher success rates. Okay, I'm going to tell you, and I know from personal experience in my own family, okay, if you've got a young couple that's really struggling and they can't have a child and it's breaking their hearts, and all of a sudden, wow, we've got something that's much less expensive and gives us these choices and has a much higher chance of success, they're going to take it. Of course they're going to take it. I mean, this is what it's about, is to try and make that process work better and less expensive and put it in the reach of people and let them start their families. This is real stuff.
The thing that does, I don't know if the word bothers me, is we're tampering with, wasn't this what Hitler was trying to do to create the perfect race during his day? You know what I'm talking about?
The short answer to that question is yes. That's exactly right. I mean, the whole thing about Nazi Germany was eugenics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to be able to weed out this, and those people were insane.
Correct.
You know, I mean, they had these crazy ideas about what they were trying to select for and why and so on. So it was being guided by a kind of a psychosis.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what they were talking about. Now, what we're talking about here, the scientists in Nazi Germany could not possibly have imagined.
Mm-hmm.
They could not have imagined the power and the precision with which to do this very thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you are absolutely right, Pat. That is one of the big, big questions that this is bringing to us and that the public is going to have to talk about.
Yeah, how far do you go, you know?
How far do you go? How far do you go? There's all kinds of things that come from this. But this is really the central issue. The ability to produce huge numbers of human embryos, which are alive, which are in the process of developing into children, and to produce them on a huge scale. This is becoming possible. The other thing is the ability to modify the genetic code. So this is out there, okay? Now, you're a young parent and you want to have a child. You and your spouse, you know, you want to have a child, and you get told about this. We can take your cells, Mom and Dad, and we can produce what we need to create a child from those cells. And this is going to make it a much higher chance of success, much less expensive. Should we do it? Now, what's that young couple going to say?
Probably, yeah.
They're going to say yes, okay? Then comes, well, we're going to be producing a lot of different embryos, and you're going to have the ability to choose which one you want to develop. Because they're going to be here, and you're going to do one of, you know, it's going to be one of them. So you're the parents. You get to decide which one. Now, what is that young couple going to do? Well, they're going to say, we're going to try and get the one that has the best chance to be healthy and to have a happy life.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want it to have whatever advantages it can have. That's going to probably be the natural response. And then they're going to be told, okay, well, we do have the ability to modify that baby's DNA to confer more advantages on it. We can bump its IQ by 30 points. Oh, we can make it so that it'll be 6'3" instead of 5'8". Okay? And you know, I mean, these things confer advantages to your child going through life. Do you want to give your child these advantages or not? Whoa. I mean, this is what's going to be on the table, okay?
Yeah, it's heavy duty.
It is very heavy duty, okay? But there's more.
Oh, boy.
There's more. Well, certain questions flow, all right? This technology, the cost of it and so on, it's going to be within the reach of some people, and it's going to be out of reach of other people. Now think about that for a second. That means that people who have the money are going to be able to confer these advantages on their kids,
Right.
and the people who don't aren't. So now you're going to have an evolutionary split based on financial means. That's what this means, folks. That's what this means. That's the potential. Now, the lawmakers haven't even started to grapple with this yet, okay? But they will, because as you hear what we're talking about here, can you imagine the heat of the public debate that's going to take place about this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you think people are up in arms now? I mean, wow. And it's the thing of it is, we're not going to have a choice because this stuff is rolling down the tracks.
How far away are we from this actually coming to fruition? I mean, 10 years?
Well, you know, it's hard to say, and I'm not going to hedge too much. I'm just going to tell you what some of the this is extremely sophisticated technology.
Right.
Where we stand right now, it looks like it's decades away, although The Japanese, last October, created this big bank of embryos from mice successfully. That's already happened. The other thing that people who talk about this frequently mention is that the speed of discovery, the speed with which these scientific breakthroughs are occurring and being implemented is increasing. So what looks like it might be 50 years away might be 10 years away.
Wow.
I mean, it's going that fast. It's really moving. It's really flying. Okay, so what people are saying about this subject is people need to know about this now. People need to start thinking about this now, talking about this stuff now. The debate should be starting to happen now because it's going to be on our doorstep. And we are better off if we've really thought this through and are ready for it than if it just hits here in chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
What's to stop a family that hasn't totally able to have a child by natural conceive a child naturally from going to this bank and picking these, designer kids? I mean,
The short answer to that is nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Once this technology is available, or conceiving a child naturally and modifying it genetically to select,
Right.
there's nothing that's going to stop that. I mean, and from a technical point of view, maybe
Right.
legally, maybe morally, but not scientifically. It's going to be there. I mean, some really wild scenarios have been talked about. Okay, for example, this sounds crazy, but in the setting of what we're talking about, you can see how scientifically it would be possible to steal a person's genetic code.
Mm-hmm.
Steal a person's genetic code, okay, and use it to produce offspring without that person's permission.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely technically going to be possible. Technically going to be. I told you I was going to take us on a wild ride today.
You are.
That would be possible. So this certainly, I mean, as you're starting to see, this really does kind of open Pandora's box even wider.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it really does, because there's a flip side to that coin. And the flip side is the goal that medicine has always had, which is health, well-being. You want healthy babies. You want babies who don't have Huntington's chorea, who don't have muscular dystrophy, who don't have Down syndrome. These kinds of things. You want healthy babies. And the entire impulse of human evolution as a society has been toward increasing control over the environment. Increasing control over the environment so that you can have enough food, so that you can have shelter, so that you can do things and open up opportunities for progress and development and opportunities and human expression. I mean, this has been who we are as a people.
Right.
Okay, I mean, things really changed when the wheel got invented. Really changed when the wheel got invented. Okay? Things really changed when people were able to control fire. That, human beings existed in this world before they could control fire.
Right.
Once they were able to control fire, their quality of life really improved, their survival was better, okay? And then on and on and on, okay? I mean, all the things that have been invented, the discovery of electricity and what it could do, and magnetism, what it could do. Orville and Wilbur really changed the world.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to go from here to Los Angeles in 4 hours instead of 4 weeks.
Sure.
I mean, this is what we do. this is a natural extension of that whole process, okay? However, it's taking us into territory that is really going to challenge us as to who we are and what's right and what's moral and so on. And I'm not saying that I have any answers to those questions. Every one of us is going to have our own opinion about that. Every one of us is going to have our own sense of what's right, of what should be done, of how this should be controlled, okay? And it's going to be up to our form of government, elected representatives of the people, to put together the laws that are going to control this whole thing. Do you see what I mean?
Sure. You know, one thing that comes to mind, Doc, is, and this could be because we're going out there on this,
Yeah.
but who's to say a guy in his 70s and his wife want to have a child at that age?
Yep.
They're not going to live long enough to maybe even see him graduate from high school, possibly. There's another thing thrown into the fire that could be perilous to that child growing up.
Sure.
You know.
I'm gonna absolutely, absolutely, okay. But now, if you'll allow me, I'm gonna take you out a little further on that
Okay.
thought.
Okay.
Okay. We've talked about that on this show previously, and this has to do with the whole field of the molecular biology of aging.
Okay.
Okay? We see people get old. I personally witnessed this turn white, okay? I saw it.
What color was it originally?
It was dark.
Was it really?
Oh, right, real dark.
As long as I've known, you always had like white hair.
Yeah. Yeah. So we see changes, you know, we see the all too familiar changes of getting old, all right? But if you go in on to the, start going to the cellular level,
Mhm.
and then you start going to the molecular level, there are molecular expressions of these changes, alterations in the DNA,
Mhm.
development of certain proteins that can't be metabolized that interfere with cellular metabolism. And so there are molecular processes that underlie all the different aspects of aging: wrinkling skin, arteriosclerosis, deterioration of the joints, and on and on and on, okay? So there's a tremendous amount of research being undertaken regarding reversing those processes.
Okay.
That is also moving very, very fast. There's a scientist he's like, this is what he does, and he's already put together a company, and he is very, very close to being able to offer the public what is called a genetic reset.
Which is?
You are 90 years old, you are sharp, you're with it,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
But you're 90 years old.
Right.
You go in, you have the genetic reset. I'm not kidding about this, folks. This is very, very close. Okay? When you're done, you're the same person you always were, with all your thoughts, memories, personality, everything. The only difference is that your body is now 60. It's not 90.
Really?
Yes.
Can you get me in touch with this guy?
You see what I'm talking
I'm
about?
starting to feel it, man.
You see what I'm talking about? Now, who is going to turn that down? But what that means is now that your lifespan, your life expectancy is not 92.
Right.
It's 122.
Wow.
Now take that across the board.
Right. Right.
So that people are really, and that brings huge questions, because the new generation takes over and they have their ideas and the times change, except now the older generation is still here, and it's still sharp and it's still kicking.
Yeah.
Whoa, what's that going to mean? Okay, and I'm going to tell you something else just to really take it over the top. Okay, I read this statement from this scientist who is behind this genetic reset, and that's not just one guy. I
Right.
mean, there's massive, you can imagine there's massive research going on this subject all over the world.
Okay.
But here's what he said. I'm not kidding you. He said, the first human being to live to age 1,000 is probably already here.
No kidding. 1,000?
Because aging is molecular. And if you can intervene in that process and basically stop or reverse the aging process, you stopped and reversed the aging process.
Mhm.
You're not going to get older.
Wow.
This is what Ponce de Leon was looking for,
Yeah, yeah.
you know? And that raises its own whole host of questions. Should we do this? Do people want to live this long?
Right.
Is it the right thing? All of these questions. And the problem for us is they're going to be coming. Those questions are going to be coming because the technology is coming.
Mhm.
It's something we're going to have to deal with.
Wow.
Okay? I mean, it's wild stuff. So, you're a 70-year-old couple that wants to have a kid now, no problem, because they're going to live another 50 years.
Isn't that amazing? That is, boy, I didn't even go there. I've never thought of half this stuff. I mean, I've never, I mean, you
Sure.
see movies about it and stuff.
You wouldn't.
You know, you see
Yeah.
movies about life longevity and all that sort of stuff, but it's always with science fiction. Like you say, this is not science fiction.
No, that's the thing. It's not science fiction. It's science.
Mhm.
And as you know, there's a law that governs computers. For example, it's that computing power doubles every 3 years. Whoa. I mean, computers are getting so powerful, the things that they can do that interacts with that's what's behind being able to control all of these different very subtle processes.
Mhm.
Okay? And in this show, and we're not going to do this, but I just bring it up to hold up another mirror, we haven't even talked about the impact of artificial intelligence on all of this that we're
Right,
talking about.
right.
Okay?
Mhm.
So I'm just saying, folks, it's going to be a brave new world, or it better be brave.
Exactly. Believe it or not, this is simply amazing. And, you know, maybe we could, if, you know, we have some week where we can sit down and talk, maybe a part 2 to this would be interesting.
Oh, sure.
The artificial intelligence thing
Oh.
fascinates me.
Oh, folks, we can do a show on that. We'll do a show on AI, and hold on to your hats.
Okay, that sounds good.
Hold on to your hats. All right. Well, Pat, Matt, I'm asking you both, was this clear? I mean,
Oh,
Yeah,
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 very
eye-opening,
okay.
unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Well, I like the public, you know, our viewers, I like our public to know about this stuff. I mean, this is our world. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
And this is something that obviously is going to affect every single one of us as a human being.
Yeah, amazing stuff, Doc.
Hmm.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, if you have any questions for Dr. Bryant, the phone number is here.
I got it.
And
Or you can email Pat.
email me at nick1 at sweet24 or 224.net, and I'll get the questions to Doc. And we're in, as a matter of fact, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a special show answer some of the questions that you presented to me for him to answer. So we'll be doing that
Absolutely.
soon too. So
And this will stimulate a lot of people's thinking, and if you have questions about it or want us to talk about it more, just let me know or let Pat know, and we'll cover any aspect of it that you like.
absolutely, let's do that.
All right.
All right, folks, thanks for watching Your Health Matters. We'll see you next week.